Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back. Time for a couple more stories. So we're going to do another Pete the Cat story because I know you love Pete the Cat and I love it when you sing with me. So we're going to do, the first one is Pete the Cat and his 4 groovy buttons. Ready to sing? Pete the Cat put on his favorite shirt with 4 big, colorful, round, groovy buttons. How many is 4? Count 4. Good job. He loved his buttons so much, he sang this song. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 4 groovy buttons. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pop! Oh no! One of the buttons popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 1, 2, 3. Show me 3. Good job. 4 minus 1 equals 3. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 3 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? That's right. 3 minus 1 is 2. Show me 2. Good job. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He just kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. My buttons, my 2 groovy buttons. Pop! Oh no! Another button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? Too easy, right? 2 minus 1 equals 1. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. He kept on singing his song. My buttons, my 1 groovy button. My button, my 1 groovy button. Pop! Oh no! The last button popped off and rolled away. How many buttons are left? 1 minus 1 equals, you got it, 0. Did Pete cry? Goodness, no. Buttons come and buttons go. Pete looked down at his buttonless shirt, and what do you think he saw? What did he see? His belly button. And he kept on singing his song. My button, still have my belly button. My button, still have my belly button. Oh, silly Pete. I guess it simply goes to show that stuff will come and stuff will go. But do we cry? Goodness, no. We keep on singing. Buttons come and buttons go. Good job. I love that book. All right, we're going to read another book right now about hugging. This one's called Huggapotamus. What do you think this really is? Is it a huggapotamus? What is it? Nah, a hippopotamus. Whether Albert was taking his first steps or learning his ABCs, or even when he was doing nothing at all, they couldn't help but hug their one and only hippo. Why do you hug me all the time? Albert asked. Because we love you so much, his father replied. You're a little Huggapotamus, his mother added. Albert smiled. A hug shows that you care about someone, he thought, as he went out to play. Wading through the dense jungle, Albert spotted Ben. He quietly tipped up behind his friend and gave him a super strong hippo hug. Yow! Benny roared. What are you doing? Well, hugging you, Albert replied. Don't you like hugs? Not when they're so strong, Benny said. I'm playing hide and seek, and you gave away my hiding place. Oh, I'm sorry, Albert said. Can I play with you? No, Benny said as he slid back into the bushes. How come he said no? Yeah, he hugged really hard. I don't think he liked that very much, did he? Albert spotted Jasmine jumping rope by a waterfall. He ran up and gave her a squeeze. Ouch, Jasmine said. What are you doing? Hugging you, Albert replied. Don't you like hugs? Not now, Jasmine said. I wasn't ready. Just look at me. Oh, I'm sorry, Albert said. Can I play with you? No, Jasmine said as she untangled herself. Why do you think she's so upset? Yeah, she was jumping rope at the time, and it's not really a good time to be running in and disrupting her play, is it? Plus, he was pretty rough. Look what happened. Albert plodded over to the savannah. Badge was just about to score a goal. I love you, little monkey, Albert shouted. Ooh, is that a good time to give a hug? No, he was going to take a shot and score a goal, and he's in the middle of a game. Ah, Badge exclaimed. What are you doing? Well, hugging you, Albert replied. Don't you like hugs? You made me miss my shot, Badge yelled. You're just too rough. I'm sorry, Albert said. Can I play with you? No, said Badge as he dashed after the ball. I don't think he really understands. Albert slumped down in the shade of a bamboo tree. I was only trying to show my friends how much I cared about them, Albert thought. Now nobody wants to play with me. Albert watched as Benny, Jasmine, and Badge began a game of freeze tag. Oh, I wish I could play too, he said, but nobody wants to play with a clumsy hippo. Then Albert looked up and saw Benny had been tagged. He was frozen in place. Benny needs my help, Albert said. He barreled towards his friend, rushing faster and faster. I'm coming! Albert ran so hard the earth trembled. He ran so hard the tree shook. He ran so hard his friend stopped playing. Uh-oh, Benny thought, not again. But Albert remembered what his friend said about his hugs. Too strong. Not now. Too rough. He slowed down and he skidded to stop just before he reached Benny. Maybe he did learn. Can I play with you? Albert asked in a calm voice. I won't hug you unless you want me to, and I promise not to be so rough. Sure, Benny said, letting out a deep sigh. You're it. When the game ended, Benny, Jasmine, and Badge huddled together. What's the matter? Albert asked. Did I do something wrong? No, Jasmine said. We're proud of you. Now we want to give you a hug. Is that okay? Albert nodded and smiled shyly as they wrapped their arms around him. Not too strong, not too rough. The perfect hug for a Huggapotamus. Right? When you want to give someone a hug, you should always ask them first, especially friends. At home, it's a little different with your parents and your families, but when you are wanting to show affection to someone, you need to first ask them if they're okay and if it's a good time for them to give a hug. Some people don't always want hugs when you're ready for them, so we always have to ask, right? You guys give the best hugs. I miss your hugs so much. I'm going to give you a big one right now. Can you hug me back, please? Miss you guys.